good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today is another edition of XFeed, and we are going to go over all of the goodies that have happened over the weekend that I can find, and talking about one of maybe the craziest things of all is the Patrick Mahomes partnered NFT. Now, for anybody that is well aware and following the Web3 space, you probably already have seen this, but you might not have gotten down in the depths of the weeds, if you will. So we're going to do that. And if this is your first time watching, what's up? My name is Schiller, and we go live Monday through Friday every single day to talk about the Web3 space. So this is a partnership between Patrick Mahomes and Azuki. This did happen a while ago. If we go down here, August 21 of 2023, but of course, more relatable now that the Super Bowl champion has done it again. As head of growth at Azuki, one of the best, parts of my job is connecting with brands whose stories resonate with our community. We're thrilled to collab with Museum of Mahomes, featuring Super Bowl MVP quarterback Patrick Mahomes, with football season around the corner. And again, this was a while ago. With 2 Super Bowl wins, now 3, Patrick Mahomes is known for his sensational and unconventional throws. The 2-time MVP signed the largest football contract in history, a 10-year deal worth $503 million. But Mahomes also has experienced setbacks, overcoming injuries to lead his team to victory. Strong brand alignment and compelling storytelling drive all our partnerships. And again, this is, think about this as you're going through this. For somebody that's outside of the space, if you're a fan of Mahomes, does this suddenly make you be like, oh, I want to go and get this, NFT? Beyond Mahomes' exceptional talent, our collab is rooted in shared values, camaraderie with our team and the pursuit of excellence, genuine community connections, and working to overcome adversity. On the heels of the show Drive to Survive and popularizing F1 globally, Netflix has released other sports docuseries such as Quarterback, which follows the journey of Patrick Mahomes and 2 other quarterbacks. There's a strong crossover genre appeal between anime and sports, both of which center on character-driven stories overcoming adversity. Bleacher Report once even celebrated a Chiefs win over the Titans with an Attack on Titan parody featuring Mahomes. And here is what these actually look like. Web3 communities are borderless, connecting people globally in a shared vision of the decentralized future. Excited to collab with Museum of Mahomes to bring sports memorabilia to our community, making our second sports partnership since our collab with F1 Red Bull Racing. And so they basically gave away this, or it was an auction. I don't even remember, to be honest. But I remember they posted about this, and I was like, why is Azuki suddenly posting about this Mahomes thing? But I guess, as we saw with Tom Brady and a lot of other athletes that decided to branch off and create their own NFT sports memorabilia platform, well, I guess Mahomes had some kind of advisor that was like, hey, maybe you should do that as well. So they still have their pinned tweet from the mint and supply announcement. The price was 500 USD with 3,000 of the NFTs. They retweeted that February 7th. They have a couple more things on here. I guess these are all a part of this collection, because if we zoom in there, number in existence 115. You have the QR code, the authentication, minted. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? Like when we talk about the crossover between the physical realm and the digital, such as this, it's something to note. And if I can get Twitter to work here, because it's being a little weird, I saw Shara tweet yesterday about this, because I guess she's friends with one of the agents for Patrick Mahomes. And so this is some of the insane resume in which he has. It includes investments as well. So 2-time NFL MVP, 2-time first team All-Pro, 6 straight AFC championship games, 3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, $500 million contract. He also has ownership stakes in the Kansas City Royals, Sporting Kansas City, which is the MLS, Kansas City Current, Alpine Formula One team, and Whataburger, Whoop, and Hyperspace. I've heard of Whataburger. I have no idea what these other ones are, and the fact that he is only 28 years old. So again, kind of crazy. These are just more other kind of highlights about it from back in the day. But again, this happened in August of 2023. Now is the time, kind of like, when you get the hype and you're like, okay, cool, this is exciting. Then you come back to this and you're like, oh, wait, there's this thing. And that's the hope for a lot of people. Quickly talking about the Super Bowl in general here, because I'm imagining a lot of you watch them. This is maybe by far my most favorite image that's come out of that. Gimli, Frodo, and Legolas. Absolutely love Lord of the Rings. Thought that was hilarious. And then you have people out here they're highlighting, well, you know, the Super Bowl's got 103 million viewers. Well, you look at the World Cup, it's got 4 billion. My takeaway from this, who cares how many people watch? Sports are a huge audience, especially for us that are paying attention to everything within the blockchain space. Sports have power and pull. And then for the halftime show, I was kind of somebody that was like in this category of like, I really didn't think it was that good. Now, the reason for that, let's talk about it. I thought just the audio wasn't there. I thought the way that everything worked from the videography side of things, the display they had, the dance moves, the outfits, all that stuff, like I thought it was decent. I thought it was really, really well done, but I just didn't feel like it got you like in the mood to get up and jive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, audio quality, but it was highlighted by Apple Music. So maybe we got to get Apple Music out there to improve these things. And final thing, this is how much people paid for their Super Bowl tickets.
What did you spend on your Super Bowl tickets? 13 grand.
10,000 bucks. 9,000 a ticket. It's a lifelong dream of mine to be here. I'm a little emotional. My dad did this for my birthday. 8,500 a piece.
I actually got my ticket for free.
Cost 8,000.
Was it worth it? Are you excited to be here?
Oh my God, yes. I didn't have to. I know a guy that knows the guy.
What did you spend on your
Yo, these people are fine with dropping $8,000 on a 2-hour event. Yo, they are gonna buy my bags. If you haven't seen yesterday, I don't know why, President Biden, from his official account, we haven't gotten confirmation that this was a hack, but he tweeted out saying, just like we drew it up. And it's got the laser eyes. We've had the jokes around Gary Gensler and the laser eyes. Of course, crypto in general. Maybe some kind of reference to the Super Bowl. Maybe somebody out there that's American has a better idea of what in the halibut this means. But seems odd timing, especially with Bitcoin ripping, which we will get to in a moment. So Magic Eden and Bored Ape Yacht Club highlighting that on the 27th of this month is when the ETH marketplace is going to come out. Again, if you haven't seen, there is this alliance that was created. It has a ton of collections from Azuki to Pudgy Penguins to Bored Ape Yacht Club. Initially, we thought it was going to be like an exclusive partnership where Yuga was working with Magic Eden to launch something, and I guess it's just this big old ETH marketplace. So again, marketplace wars continue to heat up, and you know, this is on the heels of Blur farming kind of going away, Blast unlocking. But again, we're seeing a lot of the bids from Blur disappear, but are they going to go to Magic Eden and rocket all the NFTs? Very possibly. Shout out to Kaz who posted this, and I was like, I know, like, it's so annoying. The feeds from the referral links to having to tweet everything to claim and whatnot, but there's Blaster here, and they are stepping into Blast L2 and doing this big bang competition and announcing the early access airdrop for their phase 1. First and only place to trade, earn, and launch tokens on Blast L2. Native Blaster rewards, full gas refund coming soon. Somehow this already has 283,000 followers, and there's not even like 300 people that I mutually follow this. That seems insane, but of course we've seen across the realm of all these happenings of followings on the website not making any sense whatsoever. So we'll see. Yo, Buffalo, what's going on? There was a conspiracy theory that the deep state or Biden would ever plan with the NFL for KC to win, and Taylor Swift would endorse him for Prez or some Wow. Okay. But see, this is great. The extra context that adds so much. Now he's like, the plan's pulled off, and everybody's like, I don't know if I'm still a fan. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, when did this happen? I'm sitting here, I open X, I'm starting to bring up all of the bookmarks, right? And just kind of casually scrolling the feed at the same time. People are tweeting about 50K Bitcoin. I'm like, oh my, we are mooning. That's crazy. So I guess, man, for like a week ago, if you would have bought at 42, you'd been up like $8,000. That's crazy. So a little bit more of the bull runish vibes here. But Elio Trade saying Bitcoin at 50K and retail is nowhere to be seen. It boggles the mind how 8 billion people can fumble this opportunity. It was so obvious, and yet here we are, a horde of degens positioned ahead of the biggest wave of capital to ever flow into new asset class. Good morning. So I want you to think for a second. When you're trying to explain people why you are bullish on crypto, right? there's a couple different angles to look at it. You can say, okay, in terms of like a technological advancement and applications are requiring, not this isn't really required yet, but they're saying, you know, hey, to get into this, you need to have ETH to mint it, right, per se. But what if, you know, instead of just those images and whatever you get, it's actually something of more substance where it's not, hey, I'm looking to flip this, like, hey, it's certain access into the certain thing. Hey, there's, you know, just as you pay for I mean, it's like a video editing program, right? Like you pay that. What if those type of applications that are only for the blockchain only accept that form of payment, even though at the same time we're trying to go with that? So, I mean, that's one side of the argument. The other side is, well, okay, all the world's currencies, everybody just prints. This is like the only one that exists that is, you know, programmably created in terms of like Bitcoin specifically, but of course, crypto as a whole. Is it just youth? And youth doesn't want to hold the same stocks and whatnot that used to be. And so there's this wave and you can get ahead of it. Is it there's institutional buyer? I mean, I feel like there's a couple different routes you can go at to highlight why it's good. You can also highlight why it's bad. A lot of people always say, oh, it could crash, it could crash, it could crash. I mean, there's definitely people that allocate like a hell of a lot to crypto, but I think at the same time, like for the average person that understands the concept, like, I mean, if we go to the all-time chart here, again, this is at one point was at 5 cents. Now it's at $50,000. Nice. Nice. Okay. Speaking of change, disruption. What's one way to get people to break away from something they are so used to? Just give them free airdrops and anybody that's obsessed within a certain industry. As we're seeing, Solana Mobile here have 100,000 pre-orders. People fudded the original one. It turned out that they got a bunch of airdrops. Some people are like, oh my goodness, I missed that opportunity. The value prop of them as a whole, they're continuing to iterate on it, even though apparently it was ranked like one of the worst phones ever for the year. But I mean, 100K is really impressive. And I mean, if anything, I know there's a lot of us that are kind of, hey, I'm, you know, on Say, I'm on ETH, I'm on Root, I'm on whatever, and you're really bullish on your own thing. I think that it is really cool and something that should be noted, respected, and paid attention to regarding the Solana Mobile, just because, again, when we are going up against these conglomerates, the only thing that can really take down blockchain is if the rails, right, on-off ramps, all the apps get taken away. This is a step into preventing that from happening. Brian saying Gary Vee said 98% of PFPs would go to zero. He was right. The same will hold true for high supply AI art collections, but 2% will be grails. My advice, pay attention to the ones folks are still posting and talking about 4 weeks after mint. So, well, for you frequent X-Feed viewers, what did we talk about the other week regarding AI art and that narrative starting to come around? And here again, we're highlighting it. It's not me saying it, so you hear it from a friend, you're like, okay, I kind of get the idea. Then when you hear it from another friend, you're like, okay, that guy was speaking the truth. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think with the whole AI art motion. I think it's like kind of cool to an extent, but once people realize that they can do some of the things themselves, and you know, are they actually wanting to support people, or it just goes on. I believe Brian before I believe you. Same, to be honest. Okay, 500 people trading digital basketball cards for $350,000-ish volume in a month. 4 months later, 184,000 users did over 200 million in sales. So crypto.io, it's a site I love. I was going to do actually like a short of this on some point, and so this is almost a reminder for me to do that. Because I came across this and I was like, holy smoke. So you can see back in September of 2022, this was like right before Top Shot went completely crazy. There's about 219,000 that were spent on Top Shot. Now, the thing that's weird to me is I remember everything going completely ballistic at the end of like December, early January, which is true to this chart. But I really didn't think we had that much volume. Well, in the early days of upwards of like for that October, almost 1 million. That to me, that seems crazy because there was legitimately like nobody that was using the platform. It felt like maybe 200 people were doing it. Obviously, the first month, about 400, so double that, and then kind of goes from there. But to the extent of the notion here around the tippy top range, 50,000 plus people. I mean, arguably, You could use this as a stat. And if you're a part of a team out there, you're like, okay, we need to get about this many users as kind of a base to know, okay, this is when we can break roughly the $100,000 mark. Now, obviously, a lot of people aren't going to go over and like break that down that specifically, but still pretty crazy to see what it was like way back in the day. $204 million from just only doing 219 in the start. Okay, this is an interesting tweet from Beanie. NFT meta now unrelated third-party airdrops. The amount of conversations that I've seen on the timeline of people ripping on Yuga and saying, why don't they have more airdrops for things off, like literally a single drop that Pudgy Penguins got is crazy. One single event happens and the entire timeline shifts to, why isn't this happening? I can't believe this, yada, yada. You just ride the station, baby. I don't think that it's going to be a third-party airdrop meta by any means, but just realize if one thing happens, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen again, because these narratives are pretty crazy. But the era of the Cartoon Network is apparently unmatched. When I'm looking at these, I'll get my face out of the way for a quick second here. I remember Scooby-Doo. This is Robin Hood, the Powerpuff Girls, Bugs Bunny. There's Daffy Duck. I don't really remember a lot of these other ones, to be honest. This dude I remember, but I forget his name. I feel like he was always picked on, but he was the evil scientist dude. If you remember, you remember. Oh, and Johnny Bravo, of course. Which Twitter is best for airdrop farming? Do you recommend the Bankless Airdrop Hunter? At Dexter. Yo, Tarzan, thank you. So I don't know what the Bankless Airdrop Hunter is unless it's a website that they created, because I know that Giancarlo did one where they were trying to look at like different NFT mints, give valuations on things, et cetera, et cetera. So I am not the person to ask, but if anybody's got any insight in the chat, feel free to bring it up. Okay, so this is Dr. Jane Goodall saying goodbye to a chimpanzee that had overcome a significant illness. Okay, so that's not her. She's there in a second. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because if you remember in the early days for when ApeCoin initially launched, and I think I'm talking loud, so I'm going to try to lower my voice. Why do they never bring this up anymore? Why don't they show like, hey, this is what all that money went to? Was it just used as a tax break? Is Jane Goodall still doing stuff? Like, I thought this was one of the coolest things that ApeCoin had going for it early days. And there was the video, photo of Gordon with Jane Goodall, and that was the last thing I think we've ever heard of it. And it was like a pretty sizable donation for it. I'm just like, what happened? Why isn't this highlighted? Like, I think that, you know, we say, oh, we want to have Yuga highlight different things and create, you know, all this value in these games, et cetera, et cetera. But why not have that touching point that people would think is amazing, cool, fun, show that, you know, there's more to this than just my bags per se? I don't know why it's never been brought up anymore. Okay, another scam. So listen up here, because you might fall for this. Because the TLDR of this that got 202,000 views is this person purchased a piece of art. And they thought that there was a physical that was attached to it. And so they went to the official website of this individual. And it's a big name, yada, yada, yada. And somehow through that, with clicking these different links, having these signatures, I guess they were just hacked from it. I don't know how the exploit actually occurred. Obviously, the people that hosted the website probably weren't necessarily aware that they had been compromised. But this person lost everything, thinking that there was this physical claim. They connected to the website, and just from connecting, something happened, and they lost all their stuff. So again, I don't know exactly how it occurred, but it's pretty crazy. And so I'm not going to go over all this, but today morning, I decided to check if my NFT had a physical copy and if I could claim it. I was very inspired by a Refix work, and I believe that Winds of Yawanawa is one of the best collections in the recent art space of the crypto world. I never click on links from Google. Here are my actions of the thing. I went to the main page on Twitter. There was a link to the official website on the artist's main page. I clicked on, and it went to this. Then on the top right corner, I clicked on the digital collection button to view the collections. This led me to the page nft.reefcanadol.com, where I was prompted to connect my wallet. This is a common practice for Web3 projects where you need to sign in with your MetaMask. And there's like a whole bunch of blur and everything with it. But basically, they just went through the official site. And it's just like, holy sugar. We need the extra security now with. Joey Moose highlighting that every Sunday, Luca Nets hosts an inner igloo in Discord where he provides live updates on Pudgy Penguins and lets the community ask him questions. Today, nearly 300 holders showed up. So, of your favorite collection, how often do you see the founders within Discord? I mean, everything is narrative based, right? And so this is another low hanging fruit for Pudgy to be like, hey guys, does your collection go out and do these weekly spaces with the founder? Is it somebody else that's a part of the company that's doing it for the founder, where that's the case within Futureverse? I'm just trying to think, like, across the board for Yuga, they have like ApeCoin stuff, but I don't think they really do anything with the founders beyond that, except for maybe like once or twice a year. For Azuki, I have no idea about anything regarding that collection. What else is there? You could also put out like, so there's Bored Apes, right? But then there's also Other Side. Have we have anybody that's like running Other Side doing this? Not really. Oni Force, another one, no idea. Doodles, maybe do. But it is kind of weird that a lot of these companies just don't do any of these kind of like extra community initiatives and they just launch stuff. Okay, this might be a controversial opinion, but I thought, it's kind of relevant, especially for anybody that's into real estate or owns a house. House prices being so unaffordable is bullish for crypto. It's impossible for anyone under 30 to buy right now, so they're going to look at other areas to invest their money into. Willing to bet a large percent of people are sufficiently pissed at the system to try something different. Kind of agree with that. I mean, growing up, I was never like, oh yeah, I'm like super financially literate or anything. Like I never really spent money on anything, but now, you're older, you realize all the opportunities and things out there and what you can get into. The thought, hey, I can, go buy these individual stocks and pop off with it or this, that. And then now you have commercials of why would you go to a financial advisor? Because they take like such a high percentage of things when you could just do yourself and just yada, 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 yada. So I don't know. I agree with that, where a lot of people that have money currently say just go buy real estate, but for the vast majority of people, that is not really a feasible option. So what is the next best thing? Is it crypto? Maybe. Thailand is becoming a crypto hub. We saw the UK try to make these statements earlier, but it looks like Thailand is cutting crypto tax to push their attempt at becoming a major digital asset hub. So again, for Thailand, a lot of Web3 games are played there. I think this is bullish overall for the kind of entire world. I was listening yesterday to a space for Auto Blockchain, which we do have a video with Jeff, the founder, on that. If you look it up, just Auto Blockchain, OTTO, on YouTube. And he was talking about how he helped New Zealand write their kind of legislation around crypto and, the opportunities that are starting to come up across the board. And these countries are realizing that there's businesses here to make money. And so another like direct example for me is Binance is unusable. Coinbase is unusable. It's specifically where I am. Is it Canada wide? Maybe, but what my assumption is we're still able to use these other crypto exchanges, but they're all Canadian based. And so, when you have these on and off ramps, and the other day when we mentioned how people are bullish on the Coinbase stock because for all the new US ETFs, they're going to have to go through Coinbase to onboard, offboard. Coinbase is going to generate all those fees, which is going to create a hell of a lot of tax for the country as a whole. Canada, for example, is like, why would we outsource this? Because I remember some of the rumors earlier on were that Binance didn't want to pay the fee to operate in Canada. And that might be completely inaccurate, so excuse me. But I remember reading that somewhere, and I was like, what do you mean fees? And then you kind of clue into the amount that would be generated from, if half of every country does transact in crypto, what that would mean, making sure that there is that solid on and off ramp that they're able to take advantage of that as a country. So the other day, the news came out that Celeb, the famous auction house, is launching an Ether Rock auction. Why? I don't know. There's a lot of people that posted saying, oh, this isn't actually a historical collection. A lot of FUD. But at the same time, we're seeing a couple of Ether Rock sales leading up to it. Is it the auction house trying to manipulate the market, which is the immediate thought some people have in the space? Because it's always, nobody would actually want to buy that. But at the same time, if that Sotheby's auction house does, for whatever reason, pull in quite a number, we could see those end up going up in value. But again, it's these narratives that we're creating. Is that actually true? Would you like this pet rock or $100,000? I have a feeling you're going to probably take the 100 grand. With that said, we're seeing other grails kind of move. Doodles here, 54 ETH for this collection. I feel like Doodles is one of the only collections right now that has some of their rarer assets really moving right now. I feel like Bored Apes, there's barely any of those. Any other collection, I just don't see it across the timeline. So this is interesting. Again, Doodles launching a watch collab. I've fudded it a little bit, to be honest, because I'm just like, it doesn't look all that different. But again, apparently Doodles is launching a TV series this year. Now, you're a part of history. Did you know that? Did you? This is coming from Kieran Warwick, who we also have an interview with if you check out the channel, but he is the co-founder of Illuvium. Limiting our mobile game to 20,000 players will soon be a thing of the past. Gear up for the biggest GameFi airdrop in history. Yo, Ray Stinger. Good energy, good vibes. Hell yeah, brother. So, you're here for history, realistically. Like, I'm talking like beyond the aspect of like whether you're in Illuvium or not. Okay, think of all the other things. Whether you've participated in crypto airdrops, whether you've done anything on the blockchain and gotten something from it for just being involved. There's more and more of these opportunities that are coming up, and for anybody that's new into the space, realize there's us, like everybody here in the chat that's talking so far, that have been here for like 2+ years. And, you know, we rode that initial super hype wave, but now I feel like we're actually getting things that are of value, because we had a point where everything was hyperbolic and people wanted to just buy anything and everything for no reason. That you're doing a game, I'm all in, baby. Right? That was the notion before, but now it's about sustainability, getting things out there, having a wider audience, getting the decentralized aspect for some of these different currencies out there. And you're here at literally the perfect time for it. Exciting. Very exciting. Projects I'm bullish on for 2024. Okay. Have you guys heard of these ones? Oni Force, Sand Sound, The Sevens, 10K TF Shop, and Mutant Cartel. Now, they gave a quick little reason for each of them, which I thought was interesting. But the thing that stood out to me was the fact that the Sevens was brought up. I forgot this existed. So the Sevens came out, I want to say a little bit after Azuki. Could have been before, but I doubt it. There's a lot of anime projects that kind of look similar around the time. Apparently they follow me, so maybe I can try to get them on for a little bit of a chit chat at some point. But the revamp here, I don't want to sign into anything. Man, why? These sites are awful for like giving you what you actually want to see. So the manifesto, the Sevens began as the dream of passionate, young, and upcoming digital artist Jans. Ever since he was a child, he liked to draw the things he saw in TV shows, on the internet, and on the street. As he got older and his skills developed, he wanted to create something truly special. Okay, so just pretend that was a fantastic, heartfelt story. But coming here, upwards of 12,000 Ethereum volume total sale. These things came out and people were like pretty rough on the reaction for it, saying, oh, these aren't, all that different. We're thinking like, I mean, you look at this and you're like, for the pre-reveal, you're like, okay, maybe. But that's just, the kind of notion at the time of everybody super hyped about things. And when you look way back in the day, like these started on day one, 567 sales, which is an average price of 2 ETH. So think about that. These were an average of 2 ETH at a point. Now they're at 0.03. And obviously every collection goes through these things. But it's cool to see that they're still continuing to kick around. But now you can get them for like $100 versus the several thousand that you could have gotten before. Leaking some unrevealed Persona Journey sneaks. Thoughts on the art. These ones I thought are pretty good. Clean, sleek, what have you. I've seen a fair amount of people also talking about it. And as you can see, 202,000 followers before the mint's fully out. Gotta love that. But minting in February 2024. Together, we shape the journey. So if you guys haven't seen that, maybe something to look forward to. I know that it's been kind of a toss-up on new mints on whether people are wanting to partake or not. I feel like most people don't touch anything that's newer these days, but if you wanted to see something that it seems a lot of people are talking about, might have hype off the beginning, well, there you go. So there was this big back and forth the other day, where Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, says, no, the metaverse is winning Fortnite. And then there's a couple questions here from R2 saying, will it be open and have interoperability with other IP like Warner Bros. And builders like Roblox? And if you haven't seen, basically, there was this big thing with Disney, Fortnite, and the whole metaverse narrative randomly started running all over the timeline again. What we're building will be open and interoperable with any companies and tech that implement the same future standards. Groups like the Metaverse Standards Forum are hard at work on some parts of this already. So, is your collection a part of this Metaverse Standards Forum? Have you ever heard of this Standards Forum before? And then Aaron McDonald, the co-founder of Futureverse, was tagged. Is there any connection with the Metaverse Standards Forum and Futureverse? Yes, one of the core reasons we invested in Crucible Network team was their dedication to open standards developed. We have already very exciting new interoperability standard and approach we're close to sharing with the broader Metaverse standards community. And then Ryan from Crucible that he highlighted a second ago, we are founding principal members of the Metaverse Standards Forum and always build in alignment with what Tim Sweeney, Aaron McDonald, Stephen Ilus, who does Feature.io, and Neil Stevenson, author of Snow Crash, Diamond Age, Cryptonomicon, Bark Cycle at AL, and other great leaders defining the next eras have been doing. Interoperability will come from that culture. So I guess TLDR on that, kind of interesting that there is an actual standards forum for the metaverse that is being built, because it doesn't feel like that's getting talked about at all. Tax season, something we love, and apparently Floyd Mayweather revealed that before he bought a $1.3 million Super Bowl suite, he paid the IRS over $18 million. Holy sugar. So going back to the Yuga stuff the other day, touching on it super briefly, one of the Spirit DAO members said this: Yuga's got a $4 billion valuation. This was at the peak. I feel like it's not that high anymore. If you were to give Yuga a valuation, what would you put it at? Put it at $1 billion, keep it at that 4. What say you? Again, remember, think about it, the amount that they have to do to generate sales where you can just design the art and sell it. Remember, that's a crazy business. The two top PFP collections and NFT pioneers, and they listen. This is the way bullish Yuga, if for no other reason than they exemplify community first, and they always have. I bet they care about apes more than they do their VCs. Absolutely would be in shambles if I'm a VC reading that. My favorite Web3 game experience is an oldie, at Gods Unchained. Perfect example of how NFTs should work in games. So Gods Unchained is a card game that is on Immutable X. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of card games try to launch and do something that's different, interesting, yada, yada, yada. We're seeing Parallel as well, which might be another one you're familiar with. But I do agree that if you've never tried Gods Unchained, you have, let's just say like 0.03 ETH or something, and you put that in IMX, try it out, you can see. And I very much agree with Banana there that it's one of the best experiences in terms of being able to use the blockchain, play a game, and it just, the way that it flows with Token Trove and everything is really, really good. And if that's the standard we get from a lot of games moving forward, it'll be very, very good. Okay. Quick little Gala news here is Bitbender saying, I'm delighted to announce that CoinGecko has given Gala the Layer 1 tag. Woo. So this is maybe a different viewpoint of this, is when you are creating a narrative for a token, have you not seen some big accounts go and they'll filter CoinGecko based off gaming coins, layer 1s, and it goes down the list and they say, well, this is a layer 1, so at this valuation, it's undervalued. Or for those gaming ones, well, okay, well, it's a part of this gaming category. We have these ones up here. This is good. So when you see these kind of things and these changes, know that that's, it helps with the narratives. So it does actually make a rather big deal because all the people reviewing it do look at that specific aspect. Bored Ape Yacht Club and Bape, Doodles X Crocs. 10K TF and Gucci, V-Friends and Squishmallow, Azuki and Patrick Mahomes. Web3 is more than just some JPEGs. And you know, when we're looking at all these different partnerships, collaborations, of course, need to remind you, Futureverse partner with Warner Brothers, Ready Player One, Reebok, their own altered state machine. Immersive, who's partnered with MasterCard. They got Cool Cats, the Warner Music Group, FIFA, the list goes on and on and on. So do these partnerships matter? Is it a little bit of fluff? I don't know. We'll see. That's going to do it for this edition of XFeed. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel at all, of course, we do have the Twitch subscriptions. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch Prime sub, and I have enabled YouTube memberships. I think it's like $2.99 a month. If you're wanting to support the channel at all, that would be amazing. No need to if you don't want. Just you watching is enough for me. Of course, we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, Buffalo Tron, Tarzan, and Snazzy, you made fun of me. But with that said, I'm out. Goodbye.